Hello, friends. COP26 is going on in Glasgow. There are a lot of decisions to be made in order to protect our environment, and a lot of discussions happened for past 2 weeks. Finally, the meeting is coming to an end. There were draft presented, and there were draft what was also discussed among people, the member countries. The India and China are, in addition to other 21 countries, are part of like-minded developing countries. And so far, the bone of contention in terms of bringing the whole global community on a agreement has been that since the time of industrial revolution, the developed countries have been spoiling the nature. They have been adding the coal fire and the gases produced into the atmosphere, and that has created a situation where our temperature is going to increase by 2.7 degrees, and that is creating global warming. So now to sort of say that, hey, everyone is responsible and you guys are adding to the environment, it's not true. So this is where the disagreement happened. I'm very, very happy to bring this to your notice that finally the agreement is in sight, where the committee has considered India's point of view, which are basically three. Now, if you look at the major pollution, these are three things which brings major pollution. One is the thermonuclear, thermal electric power plants. These thermal electric power plants burn coal and produce electricity. So, what are the options? You have other options like solar and all that, and also nuclear power, which is clean, which is supposed to be clean, but it has a lot of hazards in terms of in case there is an accident in nuclear power. So, I think we will not go there, but let's stick to these three areas. So, one is the thermal power generation, second is the airlines, and third is the personal cars. So these are the major contributors of pollution into the atmosphere. So while India as a country is doing a lot with especially large population base, and a major chunk of the population is living below poverty line. So India has done in the past 4 5 years or 7 years, they have brought all these poor people by providing them LPG connections, heavily subsidized, so that they can move away from burning biomass into LPG, which is less polluting. While this is subsidized and it is less polluting, as per the COP26 agenda, to get out of the fossil fuel completely is not practical, not viable, and it can be done in a phased manner because, as a country like India, we have brought certain people to a level. Now we have to take the other level, attain the other level of net zero. And with 1.3 billion people, it is not something like you can do just like that. It has to be planned. It has to be done gradually. And India has about 20% population of the world, a substantial population, and therefore there are two things which have been agreed now, which is bring down the target of 2.7 degrees to 1.5 degrees as per India. Because India is saying that it has to be done in a phased manner, considering a huge chunk of population that resides in India. The second one is reducing the carbon emission uh, and also helping developing countries. There has to be a fund created, and the fund will be created by the developed countries. And earlier, that fund was, as per the Paris discussion few years back, the fund was also agreed upon, but that was a piddly amount of $100 billion, which is nothing. So India has been saying that you should create as quickly as possible a fund of $1 trillion, and that can be utilized to fund the developing countries without hampering their growth, because now it's their time to grow, and you can't say, hey, don't grow because you're going to spoil the environment. We will actually adapt to a lot of these technologies which are available, and therefore these two conditions have been agreed. So now the agreement which is coming out from COP26 is visible. It is going to be reality. That means the world is going to gradually reduce their carbon emission. All of us, all, whether you're developing countries or developed countries, migrate to solar or hydropower to generate your electricity. These are the main things. And as it is, traveling is reduced because of COVID. But I think we need to adapt newer technology to travel between country A to country B, because these aeroplanes which are running currently on the jet fuel are the one of the biggest contributor to the pollution. So we need to get to new technology using electricity or whatever, because there are a lot of development already going on. So considering the progress, the COP26 showed the way that this is something that which we agree on, and the India's point of view has been inserted in the final draft, which is creation of a 1 trillion fund, environment fund, by the developed countries, and the target of achieving net zero or 2.7 degrees increase in temperature brought down to 1.5 degrees, and so that the move away strategy from burning fossil fuel to electricity, etc., can be done in a very phased manner. Friends, do write in your comment. This is an important subject, and I will respond to each one of you, and I'll catch you in the next one.